So how can you improve your Citrix performance? Well, that one's a very difficult question because there's not just a single answer that I can provide to you on, drastically improving your Citrix performance. Citrix as a whole is very complex. It touches everything in your network. It touches your firewall, it touches your networking, touches storage, touches hypervisors. So inside, it touches applications. Inside your network, it touches literally everything from your endpoints to your printers to all of the different components in there. So with that, you have to look at what the issue is or what is going on. So in order to do that, you really need to understand the complexity of Citrix and understand that Citrix is really broken up of 8 layers. Some of them do not apply. There's a business layer, but there's a user layer that is where the endpoint and the Citrix software for the endpoints reside. It's what is used to connect to the Citrix environment. Then you have the access layer, which is your remote access or your storefront web console where users will see the applications. Then you have your resource layer, which is your user personalization, your images, your profiles, peripherals, Citrix policies. Then you have your control layer, which is your Active Directory, your group policies, OU, SQL, delivery controllers, and possibly image controllers, depending on the size of the Citrix environment. Then you've got your compute layer. That's your hypervisor, where your workloads, your Citrix, whether VDI or whether they're shared pool desktops or published apps. And then you have another layer called operations layer, which is your antivirus software, your Citrix Director for monitoring, how you're monitoring the environment. So in looking at how to improve your Citrix environment, you have to understand those different layers and understand what the problem may be. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you've got slow login. So you've got John today that can't sign in, or he's signing in, it's taking him 5 minutes to sign in. So with that, well, based on the resource or the different layers that we just talked about, it could be in storage, it could be file server, it could be in the resource layer with profiles, it could be in the policies. So you have to understand what those different layers are and what the problem is and where it may fit into that. Then at that point, you're going to get into the operations layer because you're going to look at Director, because Citrix Director is a troubleshooting tool for Citrix, that you can then begin a baseline of what the problem is. So John's got a 5-minute login, but does everybody else have a 5-minute login? If everybody else does, then we've got a more global problem. If it's just John, well, he might have a bloated profile. So if it's John problem and a bloated profile, well, you go delete his profile. Now, is it going to come back? Probably so, because you haven't addressed or optimized your policies, your Citrix profile management or group policies or whatever to eliminate that. So we have to look at what is going on. So that's just one case. There's other cases as well. But really, how do you improve it? The best thing that I can recommend is doing a Citrix Health Check. Looking at your Citrix environment as a whole. Look at all of those different layers that I've talked about. Then with that, apply the leading practices. Make sure your Citrix software is up to date. Make sure that you're applying the proper security protocols and procedures and remote access with multi-factor authentication. So once that health check is done, that should give you the ability to help you optimize your Citrix environment, whether it's optimizing the VDAs, whether it's optimizing group policies, whether it's optimizing Active Directory group policies. So there's a lot of different optimizations and things that needs to be done to make sure that a Citrix environment is fully optimized. And